When you think of a scam that millions of people fall for each year, you might be thinking of those robocall scams that your grandmother falls for all the time, or those phishing links that promise to give you a $300 Shein gift card but gives you a virus instead. These, however, don't even come close to the most destructive, catastrophic, devastating scam that has been leeching hundreds of thousands of dollars from people each year for decades. And this scam is Ivy League schools. You might be facepalming right now while thinking,
But they're the top schools in the country for a reason. How can it be scams if some of the most successful people like Barack Obama and Jeff Bezos went to Ivy League schools and
blah, 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 blah. Look, you may be right in the sense that a lot of influential people graduate from these prestigious colleges, but even more influential people didn't. Take the list of Fortune 20 CEOs, for example. Guess how many of the top CEOs in the country went to an Ivy League? Just guess. If you said all of them, you're wrong. In fact, you weren't even close. Only 4 of the top 20 CEOs went to Ivy League colleges, meaning that an exorbitant 80% went to other colleges, and most were public. So, what does this mean? Well, it means that despite popular belief, going to an Ivy League college doesn't actually determine how influential or successful you're going to be in your career or life in general. In fact, college in general doesn't ultimately determine your success in life. You do. Simply put, colleges are just businesses that make that process of becoming successful just a little bit easier, but you're the one that actually needs to put the work in. So, why do people keep falling for this elite Ivy League college image that ultimately gets you the same degree as everybody else, with the only difference being that it's much more difficult to achieve, as well as it costs hundreds, if not thousands of dollars more? Well, because of multiple reasons. Number 1. College marketing and the hundreds of years of history behind these prestigious colleges. When you were just a little kid, maybe as young as 7 or 8, you probably already had a good idea about what colleges are. You also probably already had the idea integrated into your head that you have to go to one because, well, all adults in your life probably told you that that's how you become successful. And out of all the 5,999 colleges in the United States, you probably told your parents that you want to go to either Harvard or Yale. Why? Well, because of college marketing. Like I said, colleges are businesses, and the only way to have a successful business is through your marketing. Some colleges market themselves as maybe for a certain group of people, like women, and other colleges maybe try to market themselves as one subject they excel at, like liberal arts or STEM. In the Ivy League's case, they try to market themselves through intelligence because of one thing and one thing only: the history behind them. Many people don't realize that all 8 of the Ivy Leagues have one major thing in common that keeps them separated from the rest of the colleges, and that is their antiqueness. And when something's old and has a lot of history behind it, it makes it much easier to also market it as a place where only the top scholars in America graduate from because, well, at one point in time, the only colleges that were available in America were these Ivy Leagues, as they were established at the time that America was founded, or close to that time. So, that's where the perpetuation of these schools being the top in the country come from, because again, at one point, they were the only schools in the country in the first place, and college wasn't something that everybody could go to at the time, but instead, only the truly wealthy could go because they could afford education. And honestly, this still holds true when it comes to Ivy Leagues, as yes, you don't necessarily have to be rich to go to one, because they do accept people that come from the middle or lower class. But it's still clearly obvious that these schools are made for the already wealthy when you look at the statistics. As you can see in this article, Diversity is for Show, Harvard study shows Harvard is for rich people, it states that the commitment of the Ivy Plus group of universities covered in this study shows that almost 2/3 of the student population comes from the top 20% of the wealth pool, while only 5% come from the bottom. In other words, 67% of Harvard's undergraduate population come from the top 20% of the income distribution, and only 4.5% come from the bottom 20. The most common way we see college marketing is through those little brochures that high school students get in the mail that list all the reasons why you should go to said college. Or, more recently, in the age of media, we also see emails from colleges that usually say things that are trying to seem personally marketed to you, like, we want you, or we know that you're a star student, when in actuality they send that same exact message to everybody else in the country. In Ivy League school cases, they do something that I view as even more scammy than these tactics. Ivy League schools will actually send full-on professional letters that give people the illusion that they have a really good chance getting in, and even encourages them to apply when, in reality, these Ivy League schools just want to gain money from the application fee you'd have to pay, as well as they want to keep their prestigious image. And how these schools do that? Their acceptance rate. The more people that apply, the less their acceptance rate is. Number 2. The idea that these colleges will get you a job much quicker than other recent graduates, thus increasing salary and ROI. One last thing that I see people constantly spout out in defense of these schools is that they will get you a job much quicker than other graduates, and you will overall make more money. Although I actually do agree with the fact that you may get a job quicker if you attend an Ivy League school, based on the fact that it could be a good boost to your resume, the idea that it will also get you a higher salary than others is not true. In the article, Ivy Leagues aren't worth all of the hype, it states, in a study examining 30 schools, researchers Stacy Bergdahl and Alan B. Kruger found that students who got into selective universities but chose to attend less selective colleges earned the same amount as students who attended selective schools. It was concluded that the selectivity of a college does not determine a student's salary. This means that if you become a doctor at, say, Rutgers, you will still earn as much money as a person from an Ivy League school, but just with much less debt. This also means that return of investment, or ROI, on Ivy League schools is very low. In finance, ROI simply measures the amount you get back from investment you made. So in this case, the investment would be college. And guess what? At public universities, the ROI is more than double Ivy Leagues and other private colleges, meaning people who go to Ivy Leagues aren't even really profiting in the long run, assuming that they're middle or lower class and not already wealthy, which, again, is actually rare because these schools were designed for the wealthy. But, with that being said, I don't think Ivy Leagues are all that bad. I mean, they are the top schools for a reason, and it is true that these schools provide students with a valuable opportunity to network, as well as access to some of the world's best educational resources. So, if you still really want to go to one of these schools, just make sure to ask yourself, do I really want to go to one of these schools, or have I been raised to think I have to go to one in order to be deemed as successful?